All right, this is Dawg Talk episode 14, and today we have our guest, Product Arizona. And so he has an album out called Trouble, right?
Yes, Trouble.
Okay, and basically I just wanted to jump right into it and ask you, what's the album about?
Sure. So Trouble it's kind of my first major release where I put a ton of time and effort in trying to make a concept. Because I released some projects before, just different types of mixtapes, and really the only thing that I tried to keep consistent was like a vibe. But for this project, I wanted to have some sort of connection between all of the songs. And after I kind of saw that theme that I was looking for, it was just kind of throwing it all together. So the project is called Trouble, and it all based around just different periods and time of my life that I I was either in trouble or trying to make trouble, or just general being like a mischievous kind of dude. So I wasn't like a bad dude,
Hmm.
but it was just like different situations that I found myself in, like the way of thinking, um, you know, kind of whether it's towards like relationships or drugs or my work even. I always just kind of liked pushing boundaries and seeing how far I can kind of take people and things of that sort. And so I built this album around that kind of thinking that I had all through my adolescence going into my early adulthood.
Okay. And so that sounds like it's probably a pretty personal album. You probably delve into a lot of topics that are, probably close to you.
Sure, yeah, and so that's what I tried to make each song kinda individual to its own, kind of topic. Like, I have one song where it goes into my troubles that I had with religion. I had like another track where I kind of dabbled into troubles I had with like my work, and then especially when it came to relationships, those songs came the easiest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of the direction that I tried to take it, is with each track to try to make it bring that trouble concept into something more specific like work or relationships or whatever the case was.
It's a 9-track album, right?
Yeah, correct.
Which is pretty long. I mean, standard now going out is like 4, maybe 5. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and so
Um,
I didn't want to make it too short. I wanted to put out something that's a and each song, I mean, it's not too long. It's about 28 minutes in length in total. A lot of people were able to listen to it in just one sitting, which is something I wanted, but I also didn't want it to just be a 10-minute thing, people in and out, and that's kind of the end of it.
do you do your own production?
So I do everything except the beats.
Mm.
So I have my own home recording. I do all my own mixing. I do all the writing, everything. But I had a executive producer. He doesn't even know it. He's just a YouTube guy who from South Korea that I found a couple of his beats, and then I decided to keep. In order to make it all sound somewhat similar, I bought all the beats from just this one producer so I could kind of keep a similar sound throughout. And his name's Mixtape Soul. He's a dope guy out of South Korea.
And so, did you teach yourself to mix, or has this been something you've kind of known how to do?
It's all self-taught. I mean, in the exception of just like some YouTube videos, just trying to get my head in the water kind of thing. Uh, yeah, it's all self-taught. I started when I was in middle school, about 12 years old, when I downloaded Audacity, and just tried to do some simple things there, and downloaded FL Studio after a while, and that's been my main thing, just trying to keep learning and applying new tricks. And this is my best sounding album by far, for sure.
Would you say like at first it was really hard to get a grasp on the mixing, or did you find a process after a while that worked for you?
A little bit of both. I still find it difficult because I take it song by song, and I never like doing the same things. So every song that I'm doing, I try not to do the same flow that I did on the last song, and I try to mix differently and do different ad libs. And
Hmm.
so I take each song as kind of its own unique project. and I don't try to stick to the status quo of what my usual settings are. So I'll have like something like I have a pre-saved setting, but I still go in there and tweak certain things depending on the song itself to try to make each track seem unique rather than me just repeating the same sound over and over.
Out of all the songs on your album, which one is probably the most personal to you?
I think the song "Stick Around." Um, it's most personal to me because it, it started off pretty light, kind of talking about a girl that, I was really interested in, and she was looking beautiful, and then, things hit the fan, and there's trust
Yeah.
issues, and there's lies, and there's, and breaks in trust, and so I kind of start off really light on like this first verse, and by the time I get to the second verse, I'm almost like, I bring up my voice a lot, and it's more rappy rather than R&B on the first verse, and I'm kind of, the lyrics are more aggressive, and it was really different for me, first of all, just because I haven't done any R&B stuff before or singing, and I'm not very good at it. So,
Mm.
but me trying to like go into it and learn and try to figure out the mixing on that first verse was I spent so much time on this track. And it turns out to be, I mean, my favorite song on the whole album, and it's definitely my wife's favorite song too. It was all about her. She loves that shit, but yeah.
Well, that's always like an amazing feeling once finish something that takes so long to do and that's so difficult and it comes out the way you want it because, I also make music and I've had those days where I just spent like hours on just one thing and, I finally find that one sound that makes it sound all right and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
and it's super gratifying when you have that. You spend so much time looking at something, it almost drives you crazy. I mean, when you're a few hours in, you just gotta like get up and go for a walk, or man, I'll continue this tomorrow just because I'm replaying the same 3-second part for 40 minutes or something like, and it's something
yeah.
so minor, but it seems, you have that kind of perfectionist attitude towards your art.
Yeah.
To where it'll drive you a little crazy, but when it's all said and done, yeah, I mean, there's no better feeling. That's why we do this.
Yeah. Um, I wanted to touch on how you promote your music. So,
Sure.
what's your strategy behind that?
Yeah, so most of it just comes through social media. I use all types of social media to promote my music. I guess not all types, but I use Instagram mostly to try to get some of my imagery out there. When it comes to posting new music, I go on all streaming services, including YouTube, and then I make posts all across Reddit on the right types of subreddits. But I guess my most active would just be Instagram, trying to just get daily stories out there, updates on new music. It's a good place for people to like learn more about my life in general outside of the music, as
Hmm.
well as they can kind of put a face to the music, and I think that's very important.
You find that with Instagram stories that helps your image with your music?
Yeah, I think so. I've had some success with, doing some polls, just getting a general vibe about how people feel towards my albums, and it's been really helpful in bringing people in. On top of that, I've run some paid promotions through Instagram, just trying to get some of my more popular posts out there, try to bring people in, especially around the Southwest area that might be interested in underground hip hop, and I've had some success through that as well, just trying to get people to come in and see what I'm doing.
Who are your like inspirations behind like your music and especially your album Trouble?
Mhm. Well, I'd have to say that my first two that I always think of when people ask me about my influences are Eminem and Royce da 5'9". Um, they were just there when I started listening to both of those guys' music. Um, it's just their lyrical content, the flows that they brought. I mean, it was just completely unmatched to anything that I ever heard of. And
Hmm.
so I came from a family that is nobody listens to hip hop in my family. If they did, it was just kind of the real popular, whatever stuff.
Yeah.
And when I discovered hip hop when I was like 10, 11 years old, it was just hanging out with some buddies that, their families were super into it. And I remember listening to like 50 Cent the first time and like, oh my God, like what the hell is this? So that kind of led me down the rabbit hole to try to find some dudes that really spit, and so that led me to Royce da 5'9" for sure. And so that's kind of how my early music started, is trying to base off those heavy spitters.
Yeah.
But it wasn't before long where I found Mac Miller. And so he took my creativeness to a whole different level. I mean, Faces, his mixtape is might be my favorite project of all time. Just the production and his the way that he laid down his sounds. I mean, it was so inspiring to me. Um, and at the time before I was getting the album Trouble started, I had listened to Swimming by Mac Miller. And I think that was a big influence on what I was trying to find in my beats, where I wanted to bring something, a little more R&B, a little slower, a little more cloudy, rather than all these like really heavy, boom bap beats that I was doing before, trying to be like Royce and M.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the creation of the whole Trouble aesthetic that was, kind of new to me, because I was just so inspired by what Mac was doing.
Yeah, Mac Miller was definitely one of the more creative artists that I've listened to.
Yeah.
He definitely has like a style and an aesthetic to his entire, not only his music but his branding as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always admired Mac Miller. So
Yeah, I mean, his, rest in peace, Mac. That was a really hard, couple weeks for me, to be honest, because yeah, I know he had his struggles and everything, and I don't know, I felt a lot of relation between me and him, and especially after everything that happened, it was just like, man, I just felt the vibe to create something similar. I wasn't biting, but something similar in what he was trying to do.
Really change the topic for a sec.
All right,
Cause I've been creeping, cause I do that.
all right.
And you're expecting this month, right? For this coming month?
Yeah, my wife, yeah,
she went deep.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was gonna get brought up. Yeah, so my first child, my daughter, she's expected to come August 18th.
Oh, that's so
So
close.
just around the corner here. Yeah, it's me and my wife's first child, and it's crazy. We're not ready, but it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope.
I was gonna say, how ready for that are you?
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what we're doing. It's our first time. We were planning to do all these classes and like, go overboard and do all this stuff, and then coronavirus hit and everything got canceled. So
Yeah.
we're trying to watch like these YouTube people, but who even knows, how straight up those guys are being and the products that
Yeah.
they're trying to sell. And so we're going into it. We got the items that we need, but some of the attitude stuff, and we're just gonna be trying to, go with the flow, and hopefully
Well,
she
you're
turns out
definitely in
great.
for a treat with a girl anyway.
Yeah, and yeah, so we'll see.
I just wanted to touch on that because I was creeping and I was like,
Yeah, we're so excited.
That's so close.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I never had any sisters. And then Artemisa, my wife, she never had any sisters. I don't even have. Yeah, so I have like zero experience with anything like that. But we're so excited. We're both great people. We'll be able to figure it out and all that. Yeah.
I had
So
to interject. We can go back to music now.
yeah.
No, it's all good. I'm all good talking about that. We're excited for her.
Do you think, having a kid is going to affect making your music heavily, or do you think you'll still be able to manage making music?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly going to be able to manage making music still. We're it I'm hoping that it has some creative opportunities for me as well, because I think, I base a lot of my music off what's currently going on with me, or stories that I had that I find interesting, or times that I've learned. And so I think it's just going to be a wealth of experience and doing things wrong, and learning and trying to be a great dad. And typically when I do stuff like that and I learn, I don't like to talk to people about things. I'm a really private individual, just in general, like in real
Yeah,
life.
same.
But when it comes to my music, that's when I start to explore, and my those emotions and the things that I feel start to kind of pour out onto my pages. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think it'll definitely give me something to be creative about and explore some of the things that do go wrong or right. We'll see though.
So you mentioned how it's easier to kind of like touch on personal things in your music than it is like with other people in real life.
Yeah.
And so I find like the same thing really similar. Um, just like with my music, it's just weird how it's so easy to just share something when it's on the internet to like everybody, but like when it's with like a couple people, like you're kind of like more reserved and stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
When people like come up to me and they start asking me questions, I kind of get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't like when people come up and start questioning me about a whole lot of stuff, So like when I kind of put
Mhm.
it into my own median and I release information and my feelings in a way that I want to do it and I put it out there in the world in a way that I wanted to kind of sound and how I want to put things in a real specific kind of way. I find that that's way 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 better for me. Um, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of artists have real similar circumstances like that where, because I started this in middle school. What
Mhm.
more time of growth and bullying and craziness than middle school, and I just remember the loneliness, and I needed something to do with that rather than just staring at my phone without getting texts and driving myself crazy. So I started writing them out, recording them, and putting it out there, and yeah, and the history was made there.
I feel that. How long did it take you to make this album?
Oh man, about 18 months.
18 months?
Yeah, from the
Yeah,
first
nine
conception of
track.
it, of making my first song, to full out completion was about 18 months.
What was the first one you started working on?
It's a song called "I Don't Care." It was actually my first single. I had that song done for maybe about 9, 10 months before I even released it because I wanted it to be closer to my album
Mm,
release and wanted to get something more developed from that song because I thought it was so dope.
yeah.
I hear chirping, and I don't know if it's outside or if it's my chickens.
I thought you were hearing from my side.
Random, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a window open next to me, so it might be from outside. But I also have a bunch of chicks in the bathroom, so it might be from over there.
Side note with that, I had a little bird couple that just like right outside my apartment right now, and inside a little roofing, they created a nest, and they just had
Oh,
chicks, and now there's like four little chicks outside, and they're chirping every day. It's adorable.
oh.
I feel like a Disney princess or something walking into my home.
My girls are getting so big.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, that was random, but
Yeah, she got some like chickens the other day, and like every single day she'll send us a picture of them.
Oh
And
yeah.
they're
yeah,
cute.
yeah, they are. Like I'm not complaining about it. Like I like them.
We're
How
gonna have
many
to
you
throw some
have?
pictures of my girls in this podcast video, just randomly.
Yeah,
Like
we'll insert a picture right now
chickens.
of the chickens.
There you go.
I got 3 silver laced Wyanets and a small silky bantam. She's cute.
Oh, a bantam.
She's gonna look like a damn poodle when she's older.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah, look up a silky bantam, like an adult silky bantam. They're ridiculous.
I thought aren't bantams usually pretty aggressive? Aren't they like mean?
They
Are they the
can
mean
be,
chickens?
yeah.
Mm, that's the extent of my knowledge. Is I heard they were mean one time.
That's why I only got 1.
Yeah. Makes sense, makes sense. That's funny.
I went off topic again. I'm good at that apparently today. So, you've performed live, right?
Yes.
So how's that? I mean, overall.
I love it. Yeah, I was it was super unfortunate with everything going on now, which, I get it, but that I couldn't go and do some live shows.
Yeah, we're in
To
that boat. I feel ya.
Man, because I loved it. I haven't done it a ton of times, but every time I've done it, I've gotten better and better reception, feeling more and more confident to where like now I just want to do it. Like I just want to go out there and perform and have people come out and kill it up there. Um, so yeah, I mean that feeling is just there's nothing quite like it. It's almost like a blur once you actually get on stage and you're doing it. It's like you almost blank out for a second and then I remember a couple times as soon as I was finished, like the adrenaline, it took so long for that to just kind of wear off where I felt like I was just in this weird zone where I could barely talk to people because I was just like just so pumped up from that whole experience. It was crazy.
Yeah, we've had people come on and, say the same thing about performing live and just how like you get that adrenaline rush and like everything changes.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just start to kind of like feel the room and I don't know, man.
Do you
Just like
feel do you feel like you feed off of the crowd's energy?
yeah, 1000%. 1000%. Last time I had a show, I was just I'm not a top-notch dude, so I was performing about mid-set.
Mhm.
Um, but the whole crowd there was being kind of mellow. They weren't showing a lot of love to the early people. There was only basically the only people that were at the front of the stage vibing with the artist were whoever the artist brought with, and then the next artist would come up, and then people would leave, and they'd bring on their next crew, and so it was just kind of like it was whatever. So I went and I made it a goal to talk to some of the artists and their crews before I went on stage, and just had a conversation with them and asked them, come up to the front with me. I promise you'll enjoy my music. Everybody will have a vibe together. And it worked out fantastic, man. Like I got all those people to like come up to the crowd. It was the biggest crowd at that point in the night. And it
Damn,
was one of the best performances I had because of it.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you leave your impression on the audience, while you're performing?
Well, at the time I was performing a lot of hype music, so I wanted them to be very excited, to be jumping around. I wanted the energy to be really up there. I think if I would perform again, I would do something a little bit more intimate because of the music that I've released recently.
Mhm.
But I just hope to show a little bit of my character and hopefully get enough of an interest to where they'll listen to my music outside of just that live performance.
Gotcha.
I hope it's a good impression.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you don't wanna be like that one rapper that everybody makes fun of, you
no,
know?
definitely fucking not. Yeah, so hopefully a good one. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay. Well,
It's it's one of the sorry. It's one of the
go ahead.
hardest things about being not the headliner of a show is for the first half of the show, people aren't really into it.
Yeah, definitely. And so you hope to get some sort of impression, especially early on when that energy and kind of uncomfortableness are growing or
If it's a
dissipate.
bar show because people ain't drunk yet.
Yeah, there's gotta be some sort of alcohol being served, and yeah, it's definitely a struggle. But I truly believe that if you make some dope music and you bring the right type of energy to it, that even if you are an early set, you can really make a lasting impression on people, and get that energy moving and help out all your fellow artists as well. So
Well, we
Anyone
are
else have questions?
nope, I'm out of mine.
Slash?
Yeah, I forgot Slash was here, if I'm being honest.
who's Slash?
He's the,
Oh, there he
he's the
is.
other guy in the
Sure.
call.
Hey, Slash, what's up, man?
I'm hungover as fuck.
Well,
Hungover as fuck, so I didn't really feel like talking. Yeah, man. Yeah. So I took a listen to one of your songs. It's pretty dope, dude. I mean, 18 months. That's a long ass time. So came out pretty good, in my opinion. I had like only like half an hour to listen to it, but
Buddy just got out of bed.
I listened to it.
what happened
Yeah.
was he just got out of bed and I sent him like a link to the people we were interviewing today. He's like,
Uh-huh.
all right, check it out. It like literally as soon as he woke up, that was like what he did.
Isn't it like 5 o'clock your guys' time?
Yeah.
It's
The midday nap, or is that all night?
it's 2:30 for me because I'm in California.
All right, you're West Coast with me then. Well, thanks for checking out my music, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but just don't stress yourself out with the music and the newborn and all that.
Straight
You
up.
don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to drive yourself mad.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, that's the goal, being able to manage all things at one time. There's definitely going to be a point in time where I take a little step away from music, get my life under control there. I'm moving to a new house where I'm setting up a way doper of a studio for myself. I'm going to be putting a lot of money and time into setting up my acoustics, and I eventually want to open it up for other people to be come to my studio so I can work on more of the audio engineer side and maybe make it a little bit of a side hustle too.
Yeah.
If you ever come up north, feel free to visit our studio.
Where's north?
I'm in Vermont, me and my
Vermont.
husband, and he's an engineer. We have our own studio.
Oh, sweet. All right, dope.
So if you're ever up here, just swing in. We'll do something.
Yeah, if I ever swing by
Yeah.
Vermont, you guys
Yeah, just casually.
Yeah. It's casually going across the country.
yeah. If I ever find myself doing that, you guys will be the first ones I hit up.
Perfect. Yeah, you can
Promise
hit all of us. Like Slash is over in
Yeah.
California, Hen Dog's down in Memphis. I'm up in Vermont. You could just stay for free all along the way.
How did you guys all connect?
We met in high school.
But yeah, then like years down the road we just went off on our own paths. So
These two losers went to the military, so
Yeah.
they moved away from me
Oh,
because they're
man.
mean.
yeah.
But now the crew's all
But-
back together, huh?
Getting there.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, we're at our 30-minute mark. Is there
Sure.
Do you have any last piece of advice, either for musicians or producers or expecting parents? I mean,
Ah, man.
whatever.
Well, yeah, I guess I just keep going, honestly. I mean, you're gonna make mistakes. Things are gonna go wrong. Something's gonna come out shitty. Hopefully not a kid, but the music. And so just keep pushing forward, doing what you think is right. Try to learn some things along the way, and dopeness will come for sure.
All right. And anything you want to shout out?
Okay, yeah. Let me shout out my dude real quick. That's my dude Tyus, Tyas. He's a Cali rapper. He's the counterpart to me. Me and him have a group together called Middle Class Entertainment. We got kind of our group projects all over Spotify as well. We make much harder, lyrically dense, back and forth, bars for bars kind of thing. But he's coming out with his own stuff now, and he's super dope. If you guys get a chance to check him out, his name is Tyus, Tyas. That's my dog.
All right. Well, thank you
Thanks
for
for
coming
being
on.
on. We'll have to have you again when your life calms down a little. Congrats and
Yeah.
good luck.
Your baby update.
Enjoy your sleep for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. Cool. Later, y'all.
All right.
Bye.
Peace.
Yeah. Hey, when she looks at me.